Have you ever thought that you were literally dying? Went to urgent care because you thought you were dying. Turns out you're not dying, and now you're stuck with a big fat hospital bill? So, a couple of weeks ago, I was eating dinner with one of my friends, and I noticed that the bone behind my ear on one side was pretty big compared to the other side. Now, by really big, this isn't a bone that I ever noticed even existed until I reached behind my right ear and was like, what is this abnormality? So, of course, I go to Dr. Google, and Dr. Google tells me I'm dying. Dr. Google says I have mastoiditis. To my understanding, mastoiditis is basically an infection of the airy bone behind the ear, and if left untreated, it will travel to the brain and then you'll die. So I had remembered this bump a couple weeks ago, but didn't think anything of it. So I was like, oh, I'm about to die because now it's huge. So after having a panic attack, I decided to go to urgent care because the next time I can see my PCP is in August, and this was in like March. So I go to urgent care at the butt crack of dawn, and I see the doctor. She's asking me all the questions, and I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And then she's like, is there any discharge from the ear? And I was like, no. So she's like, let me feel. So she starts to examine the area, and she's like, well, it looks like mastoiditis, but it doesn't feel like mastoiditis. So she sends me to imaging, which is basically the ultrasound place, and she's like, go get some images done, and then we'll talk about it later. I get into my car and I call the imaging place, and I was like, do you guys have an appointment? And they're like, we have one in 20 minutes. Can you make it? And I was like, absolutely. So I'm speeding to the imaging place because I think that I'm literally about to die. I get there, we do the ultrasound, and she's like, well, it just looks like a really oddly shaped lymph node. I'm like, "But a lymph node? What the fuck's that supposed to mean?" And she's like, okay, well, like, I'm just gonna send these images to your doctor. And so I get an email from my doctor, and she's like, wow, that was fast. And I was like, yeah, bitch, I'm dying. And the rest of the email is like, you're not dying. Don't worry. We're just gonna keep track of this and get an ultrasound every 6 months of the area. And I'm like, okay. So a couple weeks later, I get an email and it's like, your bill is due. So I open the bill and it's $20. And I'm like, whew, we're good. Another 4 weeks passes by and I get another email that I have a bill due. How much is this bill due for? 455 fucking dollars for her to rub the back of my ear and go, it's not mastoiditis. So from now on, if I think I'm dying, I'm just gonna die. I'm not going to the hospital.